Kayla, the BookTube Turtle, and today I'm going to be talking about my top 10 favorite books of 2017. Okay, first of all, look at the shirt that I got for Christmas yesterday. I'm so excited about it. I don't know if you can see it. It says, what does it say? So many books, too little time. That's something I say all the time, actually, because I never have enough time to read everything I want to read. Anyway, okay, so I'm doing my top 10, and this was a struggle. I've never ranked books before. And I read, it's December 26th today that I'm filming this, and I've read so far 65 books this year, and I had to pick only 10 of them, and it was just a struggle. I'd say the top half, 1 through 5, are more concrete than 6 through 10, because some of the ones towards the bottom I was I don't know where to place you, I'm just gonna place you somewhere. And then before I get into that, I have two honorable mentions that are rereads that I don't want to include in the actual top 10 because I've read them before. So you all probably already know one of them, but it's Harry Potter. I finished this last night. It was very exciting. So yeah, I'm rereading the Harry Potter series this year, and by this year I mean I've been reading this for 2 weeks. All the rest of the books I'm gonna be rereading in 2018, but this is my favorite series of all time, so I need to mention it on here because I love it and I read it this year. And the second one is the Shatter Me series. I don't like that this cover doesn't match. It's so annoying. Anyway, so I reread this back in January, and it's one of my favorite series. Yeah, I should probably say what it's about. So it's about this girl who has been locked up in this mental institution and isolated from people because if she touches somebody, they die. And so the story kind of starts when she's taken out of that and taken to this military base because they want to use her as a weapon. But the thing about this series is it's written in a really unique way where sometimes she'll be ashamed of thinking certain things, or she won't want to think about certain things, so it'll just be crossed out. So there'll just be text with a line through it, and it was just, I've never read anything like that before, and it's one of my favorite series. Number 10 is Cinder by Marissa Meyer. This could have been higher on the list, but I just read this, so by that point my list was kind of already made because I planned to make this video not today. I was supposed to make this a week ago. Anyway, so I just kind of threw it on there at the end, but I feel once I read the rest of the series, this series is going to end up on my list next year and probably in a higher spot. But this book was so good. It was so good. And I didn't really think that I was going to like it all that much, and I ended up enjoying it a lot more than I expected. In this world, it's set in the future, and if something happens to one of your body parts, you can get parts to replace it, and they're called cyborgs. But in this world, people who are cyborgs they're looked at as not completely human, so they're looked down on. And the main character, Cinder, is a cyborg, and she's dealing with that, and stuff happens. And there's also this whole plague that's going on. And I'm so awful at explaining books. Have you all noticed? I mention it in every video where I try to explain books, but I can't explain books. Number 9 is The Diabolique by S.J. Kincaid. I've talked about this book before, I'm pretty sure, in a wrap-up or something. But this book was really good. It was another one that I wasn't exactly expecting to love as much as I did. I don't know why, either. Because it's the type of stuff that I read. I just didn't feel like I would like it. I don't know. But it was really good. Number 8, I'm going with The Call by Peter O'Gillen. This book was unexpected. A lot of these have been unexpected, actually. But it's kind of it was a very horrifying book, honestly. It was very creepy and disturbing at times, but it was really good. But it just wasn't what I was expecting because the main character is 14, so I thought it was going to be more towards the middle grade side of things. No. It was very intense, very graphic at times, but it was really good. In this world, it's set in Ireland, which is interesting because I've never read a book set in Ireland. And once you hit a certain age, between like, or everybody, it gets the call, and you like disappear, and then you get transported to like this alternate dimension type thing, and you have to survive for 24 hours, and then you'll end up back in the real world. And people rarely survive because of all of the awful things that happen in this other place. For number 7, I am going with Little Monsters by Kara Thomas. Okay, this was the book that got me into like the psychological thriller stuff. It was really good. Like, it was one of those things, I love having to like figure stuff out, where I'm just like, I'm reading it, I'm trying to put all the pieces together. I love stuff like that. So this book was really fun to read. Number 6 is Illuminate and Gemina. These books. So this is like a sci-fi type thing. It takes place like in space. And like each book, there's 2 main characters in the first book, and there's this different 2 main characters in the second book. But they're connected, like they end up being connected. And it's told in a really unique format where it's like files and documents and stuff like that. I have videos about this on my channel somewhere. I don't have the physical books because I got them from the library, or I would show, but it's really good. Number 5, Passenger and Wayfarer. Oh my gosh, this is duology. Okay, this was one of the first things I read. I read this back in January, and it was probably actually the first new book that I read, because I started the year with Shatter Me. But then Passenger, okay, it's about this girl who thinks she's normal. She's not. So she finds out that her mom comes from like this family of time travelers, and she also has this ability, and so she accidentally gets sent back to like the 1700s or something, and finds out that like her mom has been kidnapped, and this other time traveler family wants this object that she doesn't know what's going on, and so it's kind of like a scavenger hunt through time is like what it's been described as before, because she's like going to all of these different places around the world during all these different time periods looking for this object so she can save her mom. And it was just really interesting, and it was so good, and the sequel was really good. Okay, so we've got 4 left. I feel like these next 2 might be surprising. Well, it depends. I guess it depends. Because, I mean, these are kind of popular books. So number 4 is A Court of Wings of War by Sarah J. Maas. A Court of Wings and Ruin. I always get tongue-tied when I say that. It's annoying. Anyway, so yeah, it's so heavy. So yeah, this book was really good, and it was such a good like conclusion to the ACOTAR series, A Court of Thorns and Roses, if you don't know. Oh, maybe I should say what ACOTAR is like about. So, for people who don't know, there's this girl, Farah, who lives in the human world, but she accidentally, or maybe it wasn't an accident, I don't remember, kills a fairy, and they like take her into their world for like punishment, and stuff happens. This is the beginning. It's very, very different by the time you get to book 3. Number 3 is Lord of Shadows by Cassandra Clare. I loved this book, and I loved ACOTAR, but they're just not in my top 2, which, so I mean, that surprised me, because last year Lady Midnight was my number 1 favorite book of the year. But like, I don't know, maybe my expectations for this one were like a little too high, because there was just some things that went a direction that I wasn't expecting, and I was like, okay, that's what we're doing with this. And I just enjoyed reading Lady Midnight more than I enjoyed reading this. I mean, I loved this book. I just had more fun with Lady Midnight than I had with this one. Number 2, okay. These last 2, I kept going back and forth about which one I was going to put as number 1 and which one I was going to put as number 2. It was a nightmare. I just kept going back and forth. I was like, I don't know. So they're kind of tied in my mind, but I did pick like a first and a second place. So for number 2, is the Mara Dyer trilogy, which I don't have in here. I have physical copies of it now because I just got it for Christmas. The Mara Dyer trilogy, here's the first one, is The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer. This is so good. It's so good. It's so creepy and intense, and I love it. I can't wait to read it again. So for those who have seen many videos before this, my number one might not be a surprise because I talk about this series all the time and I really need to stop. But it's the Rite of Rejection trilogy. Oh my gosh, I've talked about this in so many videos, it's ridiculous. But I just feel like I have to give this one the number one spot because, I mean, I read it twice in the span of like 6 months. I loved it that much. And it was just so good, and I was so attached to the characters, and the plot was really good, and it was dystopian, and which is one of my favorite genres. And it was my favorite. So yeah, those were my top 10 favorites. Sorry for the awful descriptions of books that I gave throughout that video. I can't get it together ever. Let me know in the comments what some of your favorite books this year have been. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.